And so the last thing I want to talk about is, well, maybe we think that we're so far from God, or we've fallen, we knew him and we fell away, or we never knew him, we just don't deserve him. I got a news flash, we don't deserve him. The Bible says there's no one righteous. No, not one. It says in Romans, we all fall short of the glory of God. And there's a parable I want to talk about, and Jesus tells his disciples, to tell this lesson, he actually brings them with him, and they leave where they're from, and they go to a place called Samaria. Now, Jesus and his disciples were Jewish, and Jewish people and Samaritans did not get along. Their cultures were constantly at odds with each other. They were neighbors, and they just typically didn't get along. And Jesus goes to this well, and it's a parable about a woman he met at a well. And he tells this woman to get him a glass of water, pull it up from the well. And she goes, "Why would you ask me this? You're Jewish and I'm Samaritan, but you shouldn't be asking me for a glass of water." And Jesus said, "If you knew who I was, you would be asking me for living water. If you drink this water from this well, you'll thirst again. But if you drink the water I give you, you will never thirst again." And he actually says this living water flows from him, from his heart. And she goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" And then they go on to have a conversation about where to worship. And Jesus says all the true worshipers will no longer have to go to the temple where the Jewish people are from. There's this whole thing where you had to go to a temple to meet with God, and you had to kill an animal. And this is why he died, because it took death to cover our sin. The wages of sin, the Bible says, is death. It deserves death. So he gave mankind a way to sacrifice an animal, to go close to where his presence was in the temple, to talk to him and meet with him. And Jesus, by dying, has actually made the way for us to never have to do that, just to talk to him. And so Jesus is telling the Samaritan woman, you no longer have to go to the temple because I'm here, and there will be a day coming soon. This is after he died and resurrected. He's telling her he hasn't died yet. He's telling her that the true worshipers will just worship in spirit and in truth. And she's like, "Who is this guy? Are you a prophet?" And ultimately he tells her, "I'm the Messiah. I'm the one who came to save the world, people like you." And he tells her everything he knows about herself, and he goes, "Where's your husband?" And she's like, "Well, he's not here." And he goes, "Well, you're right, because you got 5 husbands." This woman was a sinner. He came to me. He left the big crowd, his ministry crowd. He left them all, the people that were following him around. He left them, came to this one woman who actually was at the well during the heat of the day, where no one else would go to the well because it's hard work to carry water is heavy. And she was actually there during the day, so no one else would be there because the crowd knew she was an adulteress. And in their culture, that was highly frowned upon. She didn't want to have to deal with people. She felt shame when she would talk to people, because they would talk to her different, because they had an opinion about her because of what she had done, her mistakes. And Jesus came right to her, and he did not look at her mistakes. He came to give himself to her for free, and even told her, "I know your mistakes. I know you got 5 husbands. You got 5 husbands." And she was blown away, like he knew everything about me. And he just said, "I can have him, and I can actually worship and talk to God. And he's here. He's the Messiah, and he's come so I can have God again." And he came to me in my mess, and I got the worst mess out of everybody. So she went back and went and told the whole town, and it said the whole village was full of faith because of his encounter with her. He came to the lost. He came for the lost. He came. So if you think that Jesus doesn't want to give you abundant life, that's actually the opposite of the gospel. The gospel says he did not come to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him.